Let's take a look at Honda's 2025 XL750 Transalp. This bike has a couple minor changes for this year, namely the windscreen has a new aero duct in the middle, and that's for better aerodynamics. It's not adjustable, but the protection's really good. We rode this today and with a normal moto helmet on, it was really nice. So one of the other changes for 2025 is the new display. Turn that on. This is a new TFT display, very similar to what's on the CB750 Hornet. Full TFT display, really easy to navigate. It's got the new control pod over on the left bar, just like the Hornet does. And overall, it's so easy to navigate, so much more logical than, say, the one on the Africa Twin. You can get in there really easy with just a couple buttons, make your changes. You can, pick from 6 different user modes. 2 of those are customizable. And then you've got your standard mode, a rain mode, a sport mode, and a couple of those things, just as you would on some of the other bikes that Honda makes. But overall, I think that this new interface is really nice. It's iOS and Android compatible for Bluetooth connectivity. You can use Honda's app and get some of your information up on your screen and do navigation and all of those things. So that's a really nice addition to the 2025 Transalp. One of the changes to the 2025 Transalp is the suspension settings. Now, they've been stiffened up a little bit over the previous generation model, and although this bike still only has preload adjustability at either end, no damping adjustments, overall the Showa shock and fork have really good characteristics for a wide variety of riding, from the asphalt to fire roads to some chunky stuff we did today. Overall, I think that they really nailed the settings, considering that it doesn't have much adjustability, and there's really not a lot to want. I think they work really well at both ends, and it's just an overall good package for a variety of riding. Another nice feature is the Transalp comes standard with an up-down quick shifter, and works really, really well, super slick. Riding today, it didn't matter if we were on-road or off-road, even with big motocross boots on, easy to grab shifts. You may with certain boots need to adjust the lever height a little bit just to get your toe under, but overall, riding off-road, the quick shifter really nice, super fun to use both on the road and on the dirt. One of our only complaints about the Transalp 750's electronics package would be that the ABS and the TC settings cycle with the key. So if you're going to get those locked in a particular mode, let's say you're running a custom user mode and you have your TC off and your ABS off, if you cycle the key, they're going to go back to their default settings and you're going to have to go back in and reset those. So if you're just on a normal ride where you're not getting off the bike and you're just stopped at intersections and stuff, we would, turn off our kill switch but not turn off the key, and then those settings would hold until we got to the next place. But then after lunch, you'd have to go back in and reset those things to ensure that your settings for the dirt, for instance, were exactly where you wanted them when you are ready to take off. So the Transalp 750 has the same engine as the CB750 Hornet, and this 755cc parallel twin engine is such a great fit in the Transalp. For an adventure bike, it just always has that bottom to mid-range torque that you're looking for, but then when you get on the highway, it still revs pretty nice and drives really good, and it's a quick bike. It's really fun. It's not as fast as an open class adventure bike, but overall the engine performance is quite excellent. But what's nice is that off-road in particular, it's so tractable. It just really torques out of the corners. It makes it really easy to control the throttle when you're on loose dirt surfaces. And this adventure bike, this engine is just such a really nice fit. And I think this middleweight class is super interesting. The parallel twins that are out there these days are just so enjoyable to ride, and the Transalp is no exception to that. I think that this is a perfect fit, and honestly, the Transalp is the bike that was missing in Honda's lineup. They didn't have anything like this before, not in the United States at least. You had the Africa Twin, and then you'd go down to the 300cc singles, and then now with this 755cc Transalp, they've kind of filled in that middle ground, and I think they've built out their adventure family very nicely. Other chassis notes that we need to mention, the Transalp comes with a 21-inch front and an 18-inch rear, so there is no shortage of adventure tires that you can find for this motorcycle. We're running these battle axes today. We ran them at stock street pressures, and overall, I'd say that they worked really well. The ride was a little bit harsher, but we were hitting a lot of hard edge stuff today, and so we didn't want to damage these super nice gold rims. But overall, I think that this wheel and tire package, you know, gives you so many options. If you're gonna be doing more touring, you can get a less aggressive knobby, but if you're gonna really be doing some aggressive off-road riding or some soft sand, you can really find a good knobby that works on this bike. And there's so much to choose from out there, so that's a really nice, you know, thing that Honda did, is to ensure that you can get the best adventure tires available on the Transalp. This middleweight adventure category is just such an interesting one because there's so many models in it, but Honda's Transalp is, you know, $9,999. And it doesn't have all of the bells and whistles. It doesn't have cruise control. It doesn't have an adjustable windscreen. Just has some, you know, more basic things. But overall, for that price, this is such a great adventure bike. I think you could accessorize this out and turn this bike into exactly what you want. And it's lighter than the Africa Twin, easier to manage. You can kind of find a nice spot there. And overall, you know, I think anybody looking for a middleweight adventure bike who wants to be a little bit thrifty, at $9,999 is such a great bargain. Really cool bike.